Okay, so this video is going to demonstrate how to use our new Power App, which is embedded within this Power BI report. So embedding Power Apps is actually quite simple and quite easy to do in terms of including it and embedding it into a Power BI report. And you're going to see the purpose of it whenever we demonstrate exactly what we're using it for in this example. So this specific page within a Power BI report looks at maybe large transactions greater than 10,000 um, for the purposes of maybe anti-money laundering analysis. So we can come in and we can filter for maybe May 2025. And what we can do is we can drill in on a specific withdrawal, which is a specific transaction. And you can actually view that transaction ID here. So if we drill in to this specific page, that will take us to a page that will give us a little bit more information about the transaction. But more importantly, it will allow us to put in some commentary about this transaction. Now, notice straight away it picks up the transaction detail ID. It doesn't allow me to edit that because that's locked. I shouldn't be allowed to edit that. And it also picks up the date and the member number. Now, some people probably will notice straight away that the date is 1 day behind. That's just simply down to the time zone difference. This is using SharePoint as a data storage, and we'll be able to tweak that to allow it to match the actual transaction date value using the correct time zone. But the purpose of this video is to demonstrate how you can actually write data back in via the Power App embedded into Power BI. Now, if I just say all okay, everything looks fine. Notice that I only have the option to click on add new record, okay? That's because there is no comment against this transaction ID currently. When I add a new record, it then changes to edit, which I can edit. Edit it just to put in some information so people can see how that looks. Now, where does this data go? This data on the left-hand side is coming from the banking software that this credit union uses. Where this data goes, it doesn't change anything. We don't want to do that. What it does is it saves the data that we just entered on a SharePoint list. So if we go to SharePoint and if we do a refresh on this list, you'll be able to see that new row that's been entered in here. So you can see the transaction detail ID, the member number, the transaction date, and the comments. And the transaction date actually matches in SharePoint here to the date in here. So again, just the time zone difference. Now, what you can then do is you can actually connect this list to Power BI, which is again quite easy and quite straightforward to do, to have a filtered list of only showing transactions that have those comments against them. And you can also even put in the comment state. So in this particular example, for this client, which is a credit union, they have a list that they might need for audit purposes. They might just need it for internal purposes to make sure that the relevant staff members are checking the correct type of transactions. And they can quickly see all of the transactions that have those comments against them. So a pretty cool use case of how you can embed, again, a Power App, which you can see on the bottom right-hand side here, into a Power BI report. And if I take one as a different example, this one shows a kind of you're going to see an accumulation of transactions that make up this 9,900. And if I drill into that, now I have a list of, it's actually only one transaction again, but you can see straight away it's now allowing me to enter in a new comment, add new record. And once I added that in, there'll be another row in this SharePoint list. So hopefully people see the value in that and how much time that can save in this particular example compared to maybe saving down an Excel spreadsheet, a monthly Excel spreadsheet, a quarterly Excel spreadsheet, having to go and find it, having to have a tab for comments, having to correctly move the transaction detail ID, the member number. Everything is much more automated in this approach, and that results in in a lot less mistakes and manual error.